Here he is, Matty Johns. Good afternoon.
Hello, boys. What's going on?
What tunnel are you in, or are you scuba diving?
I apologise. I'm on the highway getting about 15 minutes out of my hometown at Newcastle.
Oh, nice.
I'm on the way up there. So that's apologies,
No, that's fine.
gentlemen.
Is it for, why up there? Is this the musical?
The musical, the stage play, Craig Johnston.
Okay.
Yes. His show, which debuts on Saturday night. And just got to get up there to get a bit of orientation of what exactly my job is.
So he's up there Saturday night, Brian, and he's there now. Can I ask you this, Matthew, for New Tech? As you
Sure.
head up north, and that sign that you said where the great Lord or the great bishop of the church would say, what was that message you had on the way and on the way out of Newcastle for that famous grand final?
Yeah. As there's a church at Wall's End as you're sort of about to get off the interchange and leaving the highway, the priest there put up a big sign, God bless the Knights, which was nice. And then when we drove back into town after winning, he added to the side of it, and he did.
That's great. That's wonderful stuff. Brian, thoughts?
Yeah, I like that. I was very interested.
Why are you so quiet? Are you two on...
What?
You and Matthew got something going on, or why are you being so quiet?
Because I'm letting
Always.
I'm just letting you. You're the lead.
Yeah.
And I'm the second seat, as I like to call it.
All right. Let's talk about Daly Cherry Evans, shall we?
Yes.
So they're talking about the greatest change since Matthew went to the Cronulla Sharks, Brian. We're talking about Daly Cherry Evans to the Roosters. Is it going to happen? Will he retire? Where do we land, Matthew?
Wow. Yeah, he's got a lot to consider, Daly, and a lot of people are putting it in the Roosters' court and saying, well, the contract hasn't been lodged yet, but Fletch would know a lot better than you and I, Sugar, that I'd say if Nick has an agreement, there's no way he goes back on it. Man of his word. So, so the ball's in Daly's court. Look, I think he'll play on, and I think we're being premature saying it'll be a dud signing. I mean, let's be honest here. What's going on at Manly at the moment? It seems to be fairly toxic, and a place where I think anyone would struggle to play really good football. There's just so much going on there. And look, for Daly, I know he's hitting a certain age, but I guess the change might be exactly what he needs. 12 months to finish with at the Chooks. And I know, look, at the moment, Hugo and Sam are firing. With Hugo, what you get a little bit sometimes, boys, with halves, when they first come into grade, they really boom, but there's no guarantee long-term. There's going to be longevity. So Hugo's still got, he's still got a lot of stuff to learn. And one of the most important things is patience. And, it would not hurt him sort of just playing back, I don't want to say backup, but, whether it's 14 or something, if Daly's there, that's not going to hurt his career. He's improved out of sight, Hugo, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think the Chooks are headed for any kind of disaster with Daly Cherry Evans being there.
No, I concur. And Guns N' Roses wrote a song. They're mad rugby league fans. They wrote a song about having patience. Brian,
yes,
which I totally agree with. What did you say about last week's game, Manly versus Roosters? It was sage counsel. It was the type of advice you get only from watching TNL at Fox.
No, I just said if you had have swapped Daly and Hugo in for that Manly side, Hugo wouldn't have done much better. I feel like he's getting beaten behind They were just outclassed by the West Tigers, and if that's been their sort of issue, they haven't had any big boppers. I think Daly Cherry Evans, Robbo's no deal, Nick's no deal.
No.
If he wants to go around again, Robbo's got a plan. Who are we to...
If they won the comp next year, it's probably with Daly, right?
Well, he's not going to harm your team.
But if they won the comp next year and you knew that, it's probably with him. Would you say that?
Yeah, he would certainly help.
Yes.
He would
Thoughts,
certainly
Matthew?
help.
I've heard that Daly and Robbo basically struck up a relationship of sort in the COVID bubble.
Yes.
They catch up quite a bit. They're like-minded sort of fellas. And I think both of them expressed a desire one day to work alongside each other. But yeah, Fletch, I'm with you. At the moment, I think Manly would be an awful place to be because everyone is under pressure.
Yep.
I mean, you only had to see. I watched on Sunday, Siebes' pre-game interview, and Jesus, mate, he was on the bit. And then they showed a little bit last night, NRL 360, just before they threw to him. I don't know if it was in the ad break or, just seconds before Jake went to him. And, mate, he was pacing around, and it was emblematic for me of the type of pressure that he is under at the moment and everybody else. And I thought Jake asked Siebes a pretty innocuous question first up. A statement. He said, Siebes, you've lost 3 in a row now. I suppose as far as playing finals, winning from now on is imperative. And Siebes' response to that was, yeah, good on you, Jake. Thanks for the reality check. Yeah, good on you. And I thought to myself, wow. That was a very, very straight up and down question. There was nothing malicious. There was no 3-card trick coming behind that question. And it just symbolises what is going on in Manly at the moment.
Do you feel that this might be I can't remember when this happened last. When was the last year we had no coaches sacked during the season? We've only got 3 rounds to go. Yeah. Do you see anyone? I mean, there's a lot of coaches under pressure. I can think of 4 or 5.
There's 4 in the gun.
Do you feel that they might wait till the off season now, or do you think someone might get hooked now?
Fletch, I don't. What's going to be interesting? Everybody is waiting for someone to jump, and the indicator is Josh Hannay. Now, there was a bit of mail going around on Sunday that after the game, one of the coaches, whether it be Todd Payton or Adam O'Brien, were going to be given the tap. Now, that hasn't happened. I don't know where that had come from, but I find it hard to believe that someone would not in some way, shape or form reached out to Josh Hannay, and there wouldn't be an agreement in some way, shape or form because, there's a number of clubs who want him. And I would expect it by now that someone would have wrapped him up. And who knows, behind the scenes they might have. There might be an assurance. I don't know. But if you're asking me, do I think that there'll be coaches sacked before the start of next season? Yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
Matty, have you ever had a club, say in the last 18 months, approach you to be a coach?
I had mild interest, Fletch, a little bit. It's a little bit like, you get bumped and they say, would you be interested?
Right.
And I just use it leverage from my other jobs. I sort of give the impression that, I'm going to do it. Well, I have no intention. You give it to a journo and they go from there. That's how you do contracts.
But so you have no ambition to be a coach at any level?
Fletch, it's fleeting. Sometimes I really would love to.
Yeah.
Because the satisfaction you get. But I had a warning once. I think it was about 2011. Newcastle reached out to me and expressed a desire. They said, mate, we'd like you to apply for the job. 2011, 2012, doesn't matter. Anyway, word had sort of filtered through, and Craig Bellamy rang me up and said, matey, don't do it. He said, your personality is not suited to it. And I was like, in what way? And he said, the coaching side of it you'll love. He said, but there's so many other aspects and sponsors and everything. He said, Matty, the sameness every single day, repainting the Harbour Bridge.
Oh. Just before
I took that as good advice.
Can I ask this, boys? And I've already pre-queued tourists to do this. Okay, I want to talk about the coaching merit. So let's talk about candidates, right? So Steve Price, and he's my best mate. So it is massive, Bruce, and it is massive
bias,
right? But he was part of he was assistant coach to Bennett when the Dragons broke a drought. Assistant coach to Flano when they won their first ever comp. Assistant coach to Madge when they beat the Kangaroos 30 blot. And Warrington had never, ever won a comp. They made the grand final at Old Trafford and just got beat, right? So that's him. Then you've got Justin Holbrook, right, who's done what he's done.
Yep.
And then you've got Hannay. So what I'm asking is this, right? So I'm mates with all those three. Tourist? Bruce, why is Hannay all of a sudden a hot commodity way in front of those other two who aren't spoken about?
I'll give you 2 words. Billy Slater. Billy Slater came out during Origin after Origin 3 and said, I fear I'm going to lose my assistant.
Right.
And that happened to be Josh Hannay.
Yep.
And I think when Billy speaks, when the general talks, you better listen to him.
Thoughts, Matthew?
I've heard the same thing. I've been told by people involved with a couple of clubs that they bumped Billy as far as Josh Hannay, and he could not have been more glowing. He said that, that during the Origin series they've won, it wouldn't have happened without Josh Hannay.
Okay.
And he was a big reason for it. But I agree with you. I totally agree on Steve Price. I was thinking that the other day when I saw him up in the coach's box. But I tell you, the other bloke who has just basically been forgotten, Paul McGregor.
Yeah.
Like Mary did looking back in hindsight, you always look back with coaches and think of what sort of job did they do at that club, even though they were removed. And we look at Madge at the Tigers. Difficult last year, but getting to 9th during those years, a couple of years, it was a pretty decent achievement. And look back now, I mean, Mary and what he did at the Dragons was pretty decent. And they just sort of out of sight, out of mind a little bit. I know Pricey's the assistant, but I totally agree with you. Everything I've heard about Pricey from you blokes, like he's a tremendous fella. Very, very, he's a player's man and good tactically. So it's funny. There's a lot of blokes that deserve a second chance, and for whatever reason don't get it. But that just quickly, that song, don't let me down, don't bring me down. Yeah, it's actually not Bruce. It's Grush. It's actually a German. It's a German saying, Grush. Now, what happened was everyone at concerts just constantly sang Bruce, and so they just said, "What the hell?" Yeah. In live performances, they go with Bruce.
Yep.
And Bruce Willis is a massive ELO fan. This is true. And when they used to play Madison Square Garden, he used to get up on stage with them.
Yeah. Oh. Hey, Bruce, don't let me down, but we're coming back with you right after this. And as I said, if Wayne Bennett's Wayne Bennett, Craig Bellamy's Craig Bellamy, no one's done what Steve Price has done. He's just a winner. Anyway, I'm Brucing the run home with Joel and Fletch. Let's talk about this. We've got the great man, Matty Johns. What about Friday? Fair dinkum. This is a massive day. Raiders versus the Panthers, Storm versus the Bulldogs. But well done to those at Mudgee, Matthew.
Oh, wow. What a game, because oftentimes with the Bush games they send out the second tier type games a lot of the time, but this one, they could be game of the season. They'd be buzzing out there. Geez, it's a even throw-in finals. I can't remember like a night of football is going to be anything like it. No. It's amazing how it's turned out. The four teams that are well and truly win the competition. It's going to be interesting, particularly the Penrith Canberra is so hard to pick. It's funny with Canberra. On one side of thing, I've looked at from round 15, they've had 3 buys.
Yep.
So they've been very disrupted. Like there hasn't been. They've missed a fair bit of football, but on the positive side, they're a young, exciting team, and mate, I think they're the most injury-free team in the comp, and they'd be the freshest. It'll just be interesting this week going in against a side that's really battle-hardened. The big one is if there's no Isaiah Yeo, I go Raiders. If Isaiah Yeo's in the side of he's named, I'm leaning towards the Panthers. They'll get it done.
You know what? I'd love for him to play. You know why? Because his family are from Dubbo. The great Yeo family, they've moved to Mudgee. And this is part of the reason why this has happened, right? Great family. Amy and Justin. Justin is the clone of Isaiah, right? That would be why they're playing out there. And the fact that he would be out, it's a travesty if he is out.
Yeah, it was amazing. Similar thing happened with us when my 2 blokes played against each other. That was in Mudgee. And my mum's side of the family all come from Mudgee. My grandmother was a publican
she ran the Federal Hotel in Mudgee for a long, long time, and she actually got pinched for SV booking at one point. But anyway, they let her off. I know. You got to make ends meet somehow. But I remember being out there, and people who I knew were from Mudgee. They were like, boys are playing each other. What's going to happen? And I was taking the piss. I said, look, I've had a look at the script. It's going to go to Golden Point and end up a draw. Well, I went to Golden Point and 32 all.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. Was that your auntie? Did you say?
No, my grandmother.
Grandmother
June.
Very, very sceptical. So she had Manly $2.40. She had Newcastle $2.40. She had the draw $1.20. Brian, this is very smelly. Very, very smelly.
Matthew, is that the side of the O'Sullivans?
No. The Sullivans. That's Dad's side of the family.
Different side.
Yeah.
What about? Yeah. Okay, quick tip. The second game, Matty. 2 versus 3. Storm versus Bulldogs.
I think the Storm in Melbourne. Yeah. The one thing about the Bulldogs at the moment, there's inconsistency, and I think one of the reasons is they play a really clever but complex attacking game. And I think one of the mistakes they've made is, regardless of the strength of the opposition and how they defend, they're just determined to get their style on. I think they just need a bit of a plan B. In those games, in the wet and against good defensive sides, and the way the Roosters swarmed on them, they've just got to simplify things a little bit. I think they just try to do too much sometimes.